Shout out to Craig Jarrett for sending me this story. Listen, if y'all want to hear something that is absolutely and utterly ridiculous, you have come to the right place and clicked on the right video, because it doesn't get more outrageous than this. In this this still image, and you can tell that it's a video by the way that the image looks. You have two black men by the name of Liam and Dijon Joseph. They're both brothers. And they were walking out of a store and decided to give a fist bump gesture, which is something that is common. Like everybody does it. It's just a common gesture. It's like the new high five or the new dap or the new pound, you can say. Well, apparently them doing this fist bump triggered these pigs so badly that they immediately jumped from wherever they were at and grabbed one of their arms and immediately started to place them under arrest. Why? I don't know. But we're about to find out, because I'm about to read this article. Liam Joseph stepped out of the Nisa convenience store on Deptford High Street. He met his brother Dijon, who had just ordered some food from the takeaway next door, and they tapped fists. Within seconds, Dijon's arm was grabbed by an officer from the Mets Territorial Support Group, who said she saw them exchanging drugs. Yet again, another white person not minding their business. And see, this is how we know we are under attack. I don't know how a fist bump looks like exchanging drugs. Like, I don't know how anyone can exchange drugs with a fist bump, because your hand is placed down and both of you are face down. Then that means if you was to drop the drugs, it would fall out of your hands and onto the ground. But let's continue. As Dijon protested, another officer tightly cuffed his free wrist and accused him of behaving aggressively. "I'm not being aggressive. I'm a big guy," said Dijon, who is 6 foot 8 feet tall. Oh, he's ripe for the picking. He fits the exact physical description of the big black boogeyman. "Exactly," the officer replied. At the same time, another officer restrained Liam, while a second rifled his pockets. Finding nothing illicit, the officer took his keys and searched his car. The incident is now under investigation by the Independent Office for Police Conduct. The Josephs, neither of whom has a history of drug taking or violent crime, have alleged that it was a clear case of racial profiling. There were no reasonable grounds for a search, and that officers used unnecessary force. If the police are exonerated, it suggests an act as commonplace as a fist bump can justify a stop and search, at least if the suspect is black. Dijon shared footage of the February 27th incident on Facebook, where it had been viewed more than 200,000 times. His video ends as officers finding his girlfriend's bank card and his wallet, arrested for handling stolen goods. Eventually, they were forced to release him at the scene after speaking to her on the phone. Finally, having detained the brothers for about 40 minutes, they left with no apology, no explanation, and no paperwork. David Lammy, the Labour MP for Tottenham, who had last year conducted a review of racial disproportionality in the justice system, said the incident was typical of the way police treat black men. The incident coincided with a political row over stop and search and a violent crime wave in the capital that has led to calls for increased use of power. But black politicians, police, and community leaders have warned that overuse of the tactic damages trust. This is an exemplary case of the hugely damaging impact that stopping and searching innocent young men can have in driving a wedge between the police and the communities they serve. Dijon said that the incident was merely the latest in a string of difficulty interactions he had with police. There was no dialogue. There was no attempt to get our attention whatsoever, and it shouldn't be that way. He works as a youth mentor, and he has said it made it hard for him to continue to advise the police were well-intentioned. Liam, a professional musician, said he was used to stop and search, but this incident was different. "I felt ashamed, and I felt disrespected, and I felt threatened, and it felt like it was a toe-to-toe situation. The whole time, in the back of my mind, I was watching them too. If necessary, get ready to weave to the left or to the right to protect myself. I do want an apology. Unfortunately, he may never get one. They know what they've done on the day. They know how they treated us. They know they profiled us. How can I make them understand that people do look like me? They are tall, they are black, and they have dreads, and they have deep voices, but we're good people." Well, unfortunately, like I said, he fits the profile of the big black boogeyman, so he's always going to get profiled. Hence why he said that he's used to being stopped and searched. But I need to find out who was that person who made that call. Like somebody was watching to see. This is the thing. And I'm talking to the black men for this instance, because it happens to us so often. We don't even have the luxury of just being outside. We could be standing outside of our house, and a white person could go by, and they probably don't even live in the area, and they could say that, oh, we're trying to rob said house, even though we live there. And then in comes the cops, and it's either like one or two things going to happen. They're either going to rough you up or they're going to kill you. Like, those are the only options. Remember, it was a running joke back in the day where black people would call the cops and then they said, well, they put me on hold. I think that could almost still be applied today, to be quite honest. It's unfortunate what happened to these two brothers, but it's a common tactic. And you know what? I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I think this happened overseas. I think it happened in the UK, because if you look at the police uniform in the side right here and look at his hat, it looks like one of those UK hats. So I think this happened overseas. So see, this lets you know that racial profiling and racism is global, and it's not just here in the States. But damn, they got for a fist bump. Y'all, it's getting that serious out here. It is that dangerous that you can't even fist bump in public anymore without them saying you're doing something wrong, saying they was exchanging drugs. Wow. They always say to be a black man in America. Well, I think we need to change that narrative to being a black man in the world. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.